Welcome back to another episode of
What are we watching?
What Are We Watching? Great. All right, hello Keith. Why don't you tell the people why we're... I almost said why don't you tell them like why we're so close.
How
but
would
they
know?
don't know that
They
we're
probably-
this close.
We should make a quiz. Why does this episode sound different?
Why does it sound different? Is it one...
And we'll give them 4 different reasons, but not the right one.
But we... What are the two of the reasons?
2 of the reasons. 1, Nick ate an uncontrollable amount of Cheez-Its before, so his throat's dry. He's on this new diet where he doesn't drink water, so he just has to suffer through sandpaper in my throat.
I'm not allowed.
Yeah.
Doctor's orders.
That's one reason.
So that's obviously a good start.
Yeah. And the second reason is I've gotten too many parking tickets, so I'm real pissed off.
So I'm real fired up. So I got to bear hug him. He's on my lap.
So I can't laugh.
So I gotta keep him in one place.
Oh, I'm so freaking mad.
Just
dude.
so.
No,
But the real reason is we plugged in the mics to record for today, and one of them never turned on. So
yeah, these are nice mics. Not the tutor and horns, but they're nice mics.
yeah, the guy who stole them said they were pretty cool. So that you know.
No, he didn't steal them. He sold my buddy Jimmy, and Jimmy gave them to us at a discount.
He said though that like don't get caught with these, or you guys are doing some time.
Yeah,
so like obviously you're not gonna.
He said this mic is hot.
It's hot, super hot fire.
Oh that's a hot mic.
It's a hot mic.
Oh, is that too much? Not
No,
enough.
that's
Just
stupid.
the right amount.
Yeah. So what did you watch? Any good stuff? What do you got going on?
So I watched Raging Bull last night. I love
Little
that
Bobby
movie.
D.
Yeah, that movie's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, you just stared off over there. Oh, it's because your cat dog is.
Yeah, my dog
cat
is
doggy.
like going on a mountain excursion on the back of my couch.
You really got my eyes there because
Yeah.
we're facing the same way now. So if you look somewhere, I have to. Look.
We share one pair of eyes.
So I watched
So
Raging Bull
Bull
because I'm going to see Killers of the Flower Moon tonight. Which
Yeah.
is the latest.
Scorsese.
Yeah,
A Scorsese
So,
classic.
I was like, when I don't know. Sometimes I just get little loopholes, where I'm like, oh, am I gonna throw in somewhere? Let's
My
do that.
own.
And I hadn't watched Raging Bull this year, so I was like, let me throw that on. And man, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Bobby V.
What year was
Joe
that?
Pesci at 1980.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
I was gonna say it's early for Scorsese, but it's. I mean,
It's
like
he's
his
just
fifth
been
or
doing
sixth
movies
movie,
for
yeah.
like a billion years. So
Yeah, he like started late 60s.
yeah.
I was actually watching one of his earlier ones called I haven't finished yet, but Boxcar Bertha.
Boxcar Bertha.
Dude, it's wild. And
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare.
it has a young David Carradine who is Bill in Kill Bill.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's basically about like a bunch of people that become trained people, but then they get in a lot of trouble. They break out of jail. It's like I guess it's a road movie where they're like on the road the whole time.
They're just
I don't know.
rocking
It's
and rolling.
honestly wild.
It sounds like a
He has-
real
He
time.
has a very giant plethora of different movies he makes.
Yeah, that is he's good though. Everything he does is really good.
Yeah,
Totally
totally
that'd be cool.
unrelated to what we're doing this week. But
Did you watch anything else? I had a couple
did.
this week.
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I had so I watched Ghosts of Mars, the
So you're
Carpenter. I'm trying to
What's
wrap
up?
up all of Carpenter's. I watched.
So you hadn't seen that one?
No, I've seen Ghosts.
Oh,
of
okay,
Mars.
okay,
I wanted to around Halloween time rewatch every Carpenter movie. So I watched that, In the Mouth of Madness, and Prince of Darkness.
Okay,
Yeah, and they're all great. In the Mouth of Madness.
that's the best one,
I forgot how truly incredible that movie is.
dude. That movie goes off the rails.
It's
And Sam Neill, I think he's one of the best.
oh
he's so good.
He was so good in that movie. But
I think that's part of the Apocalypse trilogy. That one, it's like The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and then Mouth of Madness.
Yeah.
Into the Mouth of Madness.
In the Mouth of Madness.
And I think obviously The Thing is the best of the three by far. And then In the Mouth, and then Prince of Darkness, which is good. What do you think about Prince of Darkness?
It was good. I liked it.
It's not as crazy as the other two, but
No, the In the Mouth of Madness was madness.
madness.
It was so kooky,
So
dude.
kooky. So I went back and watched Rabid, which is an early Cronenberg movie,
Okay.
and it's basically about like this girl that gets in a motorcycle accident. They like this part's confusing. They put her back together, but she then has this like growth that comes out of her armpit,
Okay.
and she'll like it's real weird. It's like
I
kind
don't
of
know where you're
zombie
going with this.
vampiric thing.
Yeah.
Where she'll like hug somebody.
Oh, and it'll
this thing comes out and it injects rabies into them, and then within a couple hours they become rabid, and they're just biting people.
And that's just like the movie.
It's just this wild thing where she doesn't know.
Oh,
she doesn't know that she's
the problem.
All of a sudden, the rabies is spreading. It's like but it's like crazy rabies where people are biting. It's like people think
it's like zombies,
pretty much.
That's pretty
rabies.
cool. What movie was that?
It's called Rabid. They did a remake of it, but this is the one like 77, I think. Cronenberg.
Interesting.
You know, the creator of The Fly.
Oh yeah, dude, he's a big one.
I watched that, and my brain was just like, "This is so crazy." Yeah, so the whole plot is her.
Just being like, I can't, like, what's going on?
But everyone around her, like, everyone in the town's, like, getting... It's, like, kind of like Romero kind of crazy town stuff.
It's, like, unrelated. I can't believe everyone I'm hugging is just dying.
Yeah. And then finally, like, her boy is trying to get to her the whole time and finally gets a hold of her and is like, you're the problem.
You're the problem.
Am I? And then... Yeah,
and he's like, I think we should see other people.
It's a crazy movie.
Yeah. That sounds it.
Yeah. I don't know why I threw that one in there, but I did.
I don't know. We got a lot. We had a lot of good ones. So do you want to tell the fine people of the listening world what we're covering today?
Oh, we are covering A Bronx Tale, 1993. Robert De Niro and Chaz Palminteri. Robert De Niro directs this one, which is insane.
And then it was written by Chaz Palminteri. This is a good one. So we're done with the horror for a little bit. I think officially.
Yeah. We ran that course. You know what I mean?
Wait, but ain't that the truth, sister?
Can I do a shout out for a movie that's coming out?
Sure.
It's called Thanksgiving. It's Eli Roth's movie. Have you seen the Grindhouse movies?
No.
The Planet Terror and
No, you've been trying to get me to watch these for a really long time.
Oh my god, Planet Terror and oh my god, it's Kurt Russell. Was just on the board at work. My brain is just...
I don't know.
Anyways, they did like... my brain just shut down. It's a Tarantino movie. I can't believe... Death Proof. Yeah. Anyway, those two movies came out, but they had a bunch of crazy trailers along with them, and there was a trailer for this movie called Thanksgiving. It was basically this crazy horror movie. And Eli Roth had made
I showed... Yeah, you showed me the trailer for it.
And now there's a new trailer for an actual movie that's coming out in like a week and a half. Called Thanksgiving. Wow. I saw the Red Band trailer for it.
Yeah,
it
looks sick.
Nuts. Yeah.
Is it like gory?
Oh yeah, Eli Roth, dude. Cabin Fever.
Speaking of that, yeah. Oh, that's right.
That dude.
Yeah, that guy needs to be locked away.
Yeah, he's crazy.
I sent you the little teaser trailer that we saw on YouTube for Terrifier 3.
Dude.
Too. That looks awesome. That's going to be cool.
I can't believe it's next year.
That's next year.
I was hoping it was going to be like a Christmas thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's a bummer.
Year. Yeah, that looks nuts.
It's going to be good. A lot of good stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the A Bronx Tale movie. A Bronx Tale. So, directed by Bobby D. Screenplay by Chaz Palminteri. And... This came out, what did you say? 93?
Yeah, 93? It's actually 30 years old.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday.
Like about a month ago.
Yeah. So it had a runtime of 120 minutes, and the budget was $10 million, and the box office it made $17.3 million. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably lower than it should be, but I think it's just like, this was just a smaller movie.
Yeah. I think this one is consistently, like, if people enjoy mob movies, this one's always like, you gotta watch Bronx Tale.
Yeah, I like this. This is one of my favorite ones.
I say it's like mob adjacent. I think I said that to you the other day, and you were like, "You're a liar." It's not because it's not like overly. It's not like The Godfather, where it's like, "Do you renounce Satan?" and then they like blowing everybody away.
There's some pretty violent scenes in this movie, though.
Yeah, I think it's a weird age of like people who
crazy.
are just like getting involved in the mob.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like the established mobsters. It's like
no.
It's like a couple of kids who are like associates, so to speak. Did you have anything that you wanted to say about it before I dove into the plot?
So this actually I was actually watching a little interview with Chaz about this. This started out as his own one-man play.
Oh, it was like, I was going to say, it was a one-man show.
He developed a one-man play. It's about his life.
Yeah.
He is
Calogero.
Is Calogero, is that how you say it?
Calogero, yeah.
That's how you would say it if you're Italian.
Yeah, Calogero.
Okay, I'm not Italian.
You're like Calogero now.
It's Calogero.
Calogero.
Like when I look it up on Google, Calogero.
Yeah,
they also say it seven
play
different...
the Google voice. They'd be like, Calogero. Like,
they say it like
Calogero.
7 different ways in this movie.
Yeah. I don't know.
But it's me like saying like, gabagool. Like, I don't say that.
Well, that's why everyone calls him C.
Yeah. I think that's part of it, though.
Yeah, because everyone's like,
says
I
it
don't
differently.
know. Yeah, Calogero.
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 All right,
Calogero.
So it's about his life, and he's actually the kid in the movie in real life. So
Yeah.
he based it off of his real life. Did a one-man show, and Robert De Niro actually saw it. So it was like a one-man show that he was doing like at theaters or something.
Yeah.
And Robert De Niro
And he was
saw
just
it,
like, I
and
wanted
after the show. He's like, that's a movie.
That's
Let's
a
do
movie.
this. And I guess he had turned down multiple $1 million offers, $1 million+ offers for this.
Oh,
until
really?
Robert De Niro came up and talked to him. He's like, look, we got to make this new movie.
We gotta make money off this. It's just too
We
good.
gotta get $8 for this.
Gotta get it.
But he's like, because Chaz is just like, oh, I want to be in the movie, and I wrote it. And he's like, okay, I also want to be in it, and I'll be the father. Yeah. And I'm going to direct. And they're like, all right, cool. And they literally just shook hands. They did it at a gentleman's agreement, shook hands.
Isn't that kind of weird, though?
Like, that doesn't happen?
Like, no, I'm just saying, like, that Robert De Niro was like, oh, yeah, dude, I figured I could be in it. I'll be your dad or whatever.
Well, he probably just thought about he probably thought about, like, how old he is. And he's like,
yeah, it'd be cool. You'll be my little boy, and you know.
Like, at least he didn't, at least Chaz didn't try to be in it and be, like, the grown-up. See?
Yeah.
Like
I do.
17 years old.
He's like, I can't believe I'm done high school.
He's like, dude, I've been in high school for 30 years.
So we'll walk through the plot. So we'll do some. Do you want to go through the cast, like who each
Sure. Yeah, there's some good stuff in here.
Great.
Okay, so Chaz Palminteri plays Sonny.
Mm-hmm. He's like a local mob boss.
He's like the mob boss of the Bronx, I assume. And then Robert De Niro plays the father of the family, Lorenzo. And then Francis Capra plays the young C, and then Lilo Brancato Jr., also famous from a short stint in The Sopranos, plays the older 17-year-old. And then Catherine Narducci actually plays Rosina, the mother. She's also in The Sopranos. Yeah. She's, what's her name?
She's, what's his name's wife.
Yeah, Artie's wife.
Artie's wife, yeah.
What the hell? Why am I not? I'm drawing a blank on the name.
I don't know. What her wife is?
What her wife is?
Or what the name of his wife is?
Charmaine.
That's it.
I'm actually watching the series right now too.
Yeah, dude. That's why
my brain works.
I thought that you were going to go into the bit of like, it's on right now.
Oh, like right now?
While we're recording.
No. I'm in season 3. If anyone gives a shit.
For the real fans out there, that's pretty wild.
And then Terrell Hicks plays Jane. She's another big character. She's cool. I think she's in. I was looking this up. She's in something else like later on, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. And
I had never seen her from.
You get a quick, else. A little too seen her of Joe Pesci as Carmine. It's
Carmine, yeah,
that's cool.
I'm trying to see if anyone else is like super notable. I'm not really seeing anything.
Nah, I mean,
and then it's just so then you have. I'll just do. We can just talk about them when you get to them because there's a lot of like a lot of their friends, a lot of like the crew.
The friends in the crew
are really good. So you want me to dive into the plot? Do you want to go over anything else?
Oh no! I just have random stuff I'll throw in while you're.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll just like fucking interrupt me or whatever.
Yeah, it's usually what I do.
All right, so on to the plot. So in 1960. A 9-year-old Calogero lives in Belmont. It's an area in the Bronx. It's a working class Italian American neighborhood with his father Lorenzo, who is a bus driver, and his mother Rosina, who's just kind of like a homemaker. So at the beginning of the movie, Calogero basically becomes enamored with the mafia presence in his neighborhood. There's a local boss, Sonny, who is portrayed by Chaz Palminteri. There's a couple of really cool scenes with him and his friends really early on. So there's a couple, like 2 parts of this movie. So there's a young Calogero where I think he said it was like 9 or something
7.
like that. 7.
Or no, 9. You're right, 9.
Yeah, 9.
There's 8 years difference.
So I'll teach you to speak up again. Put him in a bathroom.
Hey, put him in the bathroom.
So it follows him when he's 7 or 9. Jeez, now I'm messing it up.
Dude, what is it? No, it's 7. It's 9 and 17.
Age.
9 and 17.
9 and 17.
It's 8-year difference. That's 8 years later, halfway through the movie. Okay, part 1, kid. Part 2, it's just like it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you're gonna be rude about it, I don't want to.
I'm totally kidding.
No, you better be. So, it's him and his friends. They're all kind of like as they're younger and then they're older. He has a bunch of buddies from the neighborhood. They're kind of all doing like there's a really funny scene early on where they're like impersonating the local like wise guys, and Calogero would always do like these hand gestures that the mob boss Sonny would do. And I think early on, again, there's a really funny line where he's like, all right, let me, try and guess who this is. And like 2 seconds in, his one buddy goes, it's Sonny.
It's Sonny.
It's Sonny.
The one quote is like, Sonny had 5 fingers, but he only used 3.
But he only used 3. There. So yeah, it's his pinky, his index, and his thumb. And he would just kind of like point at people.
Anywhere else it means I love you, but
yeah,
there I don't think.
He's just a passionate guy.
He loves everybody.
He
loves I love you until I have to kill you.
Hey, how about it? So kind of life is going on in the Bronx when a young Kolojiro witnesses Sonny shoot and kill a man who's assaulting his friend. Kolojiro keeps quiet. Basically the New York Police Department detectives come to him and they were like, yeah, Lorenzo, we believe your son saw something. And his dad, Lorenzo, is like, yeah, no, he doesn't know nothing. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's good.
Because he understands, don't, we don't want to get involved. So they basically have a police lineup. They have a bunch of Sonny's guys and Sonny, and they basically ask Kolojiro, like, can you point out who did it, who killed the guy? They get to Sonny, and Kolojiro says, like, nope, wasn't this guy. There's a really great line that's kind of said in this. So basically, a very young Kolojiro at the age of 9 doesn't dime out the local mob boss. This kind of sets in motion like the whole plot of the story. Is Sonny is kind of like, you know what? He ends up talking to Lorenzo, his dad. He's like, look, you did a really great thing. Like, we want to give you a job if you want to start earning a little extra money. There's a really good line from Robert De Niro where Kolojiro says, like, I did a good thing, Dad. Like, I didn't rat, right? And he goes, yeah, you did a good thing. You did a good thing for a bad man. And that's just one of the, I think, really sets the state, like the scene for, who, like, there is obviously some respect for it, and like you did do a good thing, but these guys aren't to be messed with.
Right. Because then he says, I did a good thing for a bad man. A rat was the lowest thing you could be in my neighborhood, and I didn't rat. Yeah. So this all happens. The shooting happens over a parking space.
Yeah,
or what you think is
what he thinks is a parking space. Because he's like, Dad. He's like, Dad. He shot him. He shot him all over a parking space.
Yeah,
and he's like, No, you'll understand when you're older. Like,
basically, one guy's pulling in front, one guy's pulling in back. Situation. Tale as old as time. There's actually a Seinfeld episode of the same thing, but no one gets shot.
Yeah,
but basically, one dude gets out, smashes the other dude with a bat through his car, and then Sonny gets out and just pops him, and then you see Carmine, who's the guy that got hit by the bat, Joe Pesci. He gets basically escorted into a car, and everyone just scatters.
Yeah.
And then Lorenzo just grips up
Kolojiro
off the takes him upstairs. And then you said 2 seconds later, the texter's like, "We know your son saw something."
Yeah, and he's like, "Nah, I didn't."
But the way they have them lined up on the wall is so funny. So outside the Che Bippy, which is all the gangsters, all the boys hang out.
It's like their hangout. They
have them lined up facing the wall. So their lineup is not at a police station. It is outside. Yeah, like on the same block.
This was in the 60s.
I know, but I'm just saying it's pretty funny. Like everybody's watching the lineup.
Yeah,
and then he takes them systematically down each one, points at him, the whole crew, and then he gets to Sonny, who's got this crazy smile on his face.
Yeah,
and he says, "Nah, it wasn't him." And then
I will say,
like, I told you, my son said he didn't see nothing.
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, so I'm gonna go back upstairs.
I'm gonna go back upstairs and yell at my wife for not having dinner ready."
But I think it's cool, like, after he basically doesn't dime him out, right before he says the line, like, I did a good thing for a bad man, Sonny actually kind of like looks over at him and he was like, I really could have just been dimed out by a 9-year-old. Like, it was a pretty big deal. So from then on out, there was always a big part of it where Kolojiro, who they just call C, we can just refer to him as C from here on out, he isn't allowed to leave his stoop. That's like a big thing. So like, good. He has to stay, like, all of his friends are out. They're all just allowed to hang out, like, on the stoop. So, like you said, Sonny's men offer Lorenzo a better paying job, but he's like, you know what? No, I like my bus route. Like, I'm happy where I am. But Sonny ends up kind of befriending Kolojiro, and he gives him the nickname C. There's a whole funny exchange where he's like, yeah, what's your name, kid? He like, you did a good thing by not diming me out, essentially. Like, what's your name? And he says, Kolojiro. He says, no. What I mean, like, what do your friends call you? And he goes, Kolojiro. And then Sonny goes, yeah, it makes sense. And he's like, the name's too hard. I'm just going to call you C. Like, from now on, like, the guys and I, we're going to call you C, if that's cool. So from then on out, he basically, Kalogero would sneak, or C would kind of sneak down to Sonny's bar. He would get drinks for him. He was like, a little kid, and they would give him big tip. All his buddies would give him tips, and then he ends up getting into like some dice games and stuff like that.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, did you want to talk about that scene?
So right before he goes to meet him, though, this part killed me. He goes to confess to the.
Oh, confession?
He goes to confession.
I forgot about this scene. Yeah.
For witness and murder.
Yeah.
And so he kind of slips it in there between a couple of things. The father's like, wait, what did you say? So he finally goes back and says it again. And he's like, he basically is like, oh, well, you have to tell God. And he's like, yeah, Father, but your God might be bigger than my God up there, but my God down here is bigger than your God. And
he's like, you got a point, kid.
He's like, okay. He's like, all right, well, just give me 5 Our Fathers, 5 Hail Marys. And he's like, not bad for a murder rap, Father.
Yeah, he's like, 5 Hail Marys for a murder rap? That's not bad, Father.
He's like, what?
What?
So then he runs right in there, and then right as he leaves there, as he gets picked up, meets up with Sonny, and he goes, finally we meet face to face. And I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And then he tells him...
I did skip a lot of this scene, I'm sorry.
No, I just like this part because this is where you find out earlier that he's like a big Mickey Mantle fan, and this is where he tells him, is Mickey Mantle going to pay your rent? If your dad can't pay your rent, is your Mickey Mantle going to pay your rent? And he's like, he's not. He's like, Mickey Mantle don't care about you. Why do you care about him? And he's just like, you could tell he's like, his whole childhood just is gone.
Just shattered.
He's like, oh, I don't like the Yankees anymore.
Yeah, he's like, well, that's it.
That was it. But then this is the scene where he's handing out the drinks is, I think, is one of the best scenes. We basically quote it almost once a week. I work.
Yeah, we really do. So he's, like I said, handing out drinks. There ends up being, like I said, they were throwing dice and doing a little gambling. But the one time, Sonny calls him over and he's like, "C, I want you to throw the dice and stuff." So C's getting ready to throw the dice. And then Sonny stops and he goes, "No." His whole crew's there, and these are like scary dudes. Like they're badass, like scary looking dudes. And so basically, he ends up stopping the game. And the only reason I'm going into detail is because of the quotes. Yeah. There's the one guy who, come to find out, is Frankie Coffee Cake, who I guess he has bad acne, but they said he's like
Drake's coffee cake.
He said his face looks like a Drake's coffee cake. So they call him Frankie Coffee Cake. So this is kind of like you're getting introduced to his crew little by little. And so the really funny line that I know you're going to bring it up. He goes, no, Frankie Coffee Cake, no good. And he's like, Sonny, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I got money here. I want to throw the dice. And he goes, no. I don't want that face looking at his face when he throws my dice.
Put him in the bathroom.
And so basically, like, they're all friends, but you start to understand very quickly that, like, Sonny is the boss. Oh, yeah. And so basically he's like, no, like, Sonny, I don't want to go in the bathroom. And then they're like, oh, I don't know what to tell you, man. Sonny told you to get in the bathroom. Go stand in the bathroom.
Yeah, so Eddie Mush gets put in first just because you find out later that he has the worst luck ever.
Yeah, so Eddie the Mush.
He goes first.
He goes in there first.
And then Jojo the Whale goes second.
Because he's breathing on Sonny.
He's like, I want your money touching my money. Get in the bathroom. Put him in the bathroom.
So he puts 3 of his friends, he makes them stand inside of a very small bathroom in the basement of a bar while a 9-year-old is throwing dice on his behalf.
He's like, put him in the bathroom.
Put him in the bathroom. Jojo's already in the bathroom. Oh, so he before he offers to put Frankie Coffee Cake in the bathroom, he suggests that we could get a rag from the bar to put it over his face.
Put a fucking rag
He's
on
like,
his head.
Sonny, it's embarrassing. So good. Did I miss any of the scenes from there?
No, he hits a 7 in craps, which I guess is good, and then he hits a
he goes
4.
on like a roll with he's just throwing dice after hand after hand.
And he's like, Sonny, I'll hit a 7. He's like, no, you gotta hit the hard 4.
Yeah.
Like, I know what any of this means.
Yeah. So he basically, it's a really long night. He's doing really well. He's about to leave. And Sonny, this is kind of like the first time after they're kind of becoming friends a little bit. You can see he's like trying to mentor him a little bit. He pulls him aside and he's like, you did good. Like, here, this is for you. Like, he gives him a tip. And C goes, that's it? And he's like, all right, fine. So he gives him more money. And he basically is I think this is one of the first scenes. I could be wrong. I might be remembering the order a little bit like out of whack. But he basically is like trying to tell him, like, always follow your heart. Like, be a good person. Like, that's what really matters and stuff like that. He's like, people respect me and stuff like that, which is going to be, I think, a big theme throughout this movie is you have these kind of 2 forces. You have Lorenzo, C's dad, which in the next scene, he basically catches C coming back with a bunch of cash. And he's like, where the fuck did you get this? You're a 9.
He's like, my son has a bigger bank account than I do.
Yeah. And so basically he catches him, and then basically C ends up telling him like, yeah, I've been playing, I've been hanging out with Sonny and his friends, and his dad is obviously upset. He's like, I don't want you hanging out with those guys. So basically a little bit later on, he ends up having a sit down with Lorenzo has a sit down with Sonny. He basically is like, look, I respect you and I know you're a powerful guy around here, but like don't hang around my son anymore. So this is kind of like a developing struggle between, like, we have Lorenzo, who represents kind of like the working man of that time, and then we have Sonny, who represents like power and money and stuff like that. And it's this constant struggle between what I guess typically good and evil. Oh, yeah. And then if you look at the cover of this movie, you have their two faces on either side, and with C, who's older, in the middle. And again, it's basically just this, the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other, kind of this power struggle. Did I miss anything in there? Was there anything
no. But right then, after the sit down, he gives his money back, and then C gets mad, obviously at his dad, and then he goes, Sonny's right. The working man's a sucker. And then this is my favorite quote.
Oh yeah,
he's wrong. It don't take much strength to pull a trigger, but try getting up every morning, day after day, working for a living. Let's see him try that. Then we'll see who the real tough guy is. The working man's a tough guy. Your father's the tough guy. Oh my god!
Yeah. And then C goes, the working man, or no, I guess he said the working man's
a sucker. Dad.
Yeah, and he slaps him.
He slaps the Jesus out of him.
But yeah, I mean, so it's obviously he's a very young, impressionable kid. So it's very understandable why his dad would want to be like, go to work. That's where, support your family.
What's wrong with being a bus driver? There's a lot of people in this movie, including his wife and his kid, that like, oh, you're just a bus driver. And Sonny, like, oh, you're just a bus driver. Go get your bus. And I'm like, damn.
And he's like, I enjoy it. Like, yeah, it's crazy. So then it fast forwards 8 years later. So he's 17 now. Kalogero, he's got the the all black leather outfit on. You can tell he's kind of steering more towards the Sonny side of things. And he's basically been hanging out with Sonny, pretty regularly without his father's knowledge. I think his dad kind of knows what's going on, but he's not really like, he's just like, I've always told you, just please be a respectable member of society. So Calogero is basically part of a gang of local Italian-American boys, which it's all his buddies from when he was really young. And this is actually where I think you see kind of the switch, is that Sonny is actually like, I don't want you, like, these guys are idiots. Like, you are much smarter than they will than they will ever be.
Yeah, he sees the prospect in him. He even tells him, he's like, this is my life, it's not yours.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want you doing what I do.
And I think that's like really respectful.
I get it, because this is not the first time you see this in like a mob related movie.
Yeah.
But why, like, and I think Bobby D gets into it later, but he's like, cool, I hear what he's saying. Like, I hear what you're saying, but you're also still paying me to go do your errands, so I'm sort of like in your lifestyle anyway. So what do you mean?
So it's kind of like,
don't do what I do, but like,
but also like, hey, good job doing what I don't want you to do.
You're not going to shoot anybody, but you're going to go like, you're going to get the boys coffee, and you're going to go, make sure that this guy gives me my money. It's like, wait a second.
Yeah, and you're like, well, you just said you didn't.
But I think at this point he is trying to not have him do that stuff.
Yeah. But. Yeah. Well, he's a smart kid. I think you learn like pretty fast that Sonny is actually a smart kid. It's pretty cool. He has almost this like internal monologue going on throughout the movie where you can tell that like he's really thinking through decisions a lot, where I think at this point in the movie, all of his buddies are kind of jackasses.
Yeah, he's got Slick and Mario, Crazy Mario. Those are his two best buds.
His two boys.
Yeah. They have their own social club.
The Deuce is Wild. So he was
they
like,
had their own spot, which is kind of cool.
I mean, I think that would be cool to have your own like your own social club at 17.
They're basically doing Sopranos stuff, but just as kids outside of a.
Well, they were like, we finally had our own hangout. Like, nobody ever wanted to go home in case you missed anything and stuff like that. And Classic. You're like, but it's tough. I mean, I know, like, obviously at that age, you're not really super care about what your parents have to tell you at that point. You're trying to be like, I'm tough. I'm my own guy. And then you see people like Sonny and his crew, like, they have their own hangout. Like, there's a lot of money and a lot of power. And it's, man, this is such an in-depth movie. I really like this one. But anyway, so Calogero, or C, basically ends up, as some dialogue is going on, he ends up meeting, I guess this is where I think we should highlight basically one of the another major theme is that they are from a predominantly Italian American neighborhood, and right down the street, this is basically in the 60s,
yeah.
is a predominantly black neighborhood, and they do not get along. No. Again, it's in the 60s. This is the middle of like there was a lot of I guess tension at this point, civil rights and all that sort of thing. So there was a lot of tension, a lot of racial
It's basically
tension.
a line where C and his boys stay on their side of the line, and then the other neighborhood stays on their side.
Yeah,
and it's like not great at all.
No.
But I think it's
accurate. It was accurate for the times, unfortunately.
Which kind of sucks. But
so basically, one day he's riding the bus with his dad. C is riding the bus with his dad, and he meets a black girl named Jane, and they basically develop this kind of friendship. I guess is what you would call it. So they go to the same.
Well, they literally just stare at each other.
They stare at each other
because he's with his friends, she's with her friends, and they know like it's kind of like not.
I like to think it was almost like a Romeo and Juliet type of thing of like, oh, like how you doing? But like I can't
talk to you right now. Yeah, but I'll find you in a minute.
And basically they strike up a conversation. I think he offers to walk her home one day, and their kind of relationship is developing. So he ends up asking Sonny for advice, which I think that again this highlights that he kind of wants the opinion of Sonny and his dad, because he basically asks both of them like what would they do, and I think Sonny had the better advice.
Oh,
he's
for
like
sure.
He's like, are you happy? Yeah. Who gives a fuck what anyone has to say? I think I'm trying to remember the exact line that he says. He's like, oh, what only matters is it's like between you and her.
He's
basically.
Like, I think I have it. Hold on.
You have that line?
He's like, when... Oh, shit.
But while you're looking for that, and then he basically asks his dad what he thinks, and his dad is kind of like, look, I'm friends with everybody, like, I get along with everybody, but, like, you know, maybe I would like you to meet maybe a nice Italian girl or something
So his father says, sometimes in the heat of passion, the little head tells the big head what to do, and the big head should be careful. That's what his dad says.
That's what his dad says.
And then Sonny says, what did he say? He says, oh, there it is. I was looking for it. When you're alone late at night under the covers, that's all that matters. You only get 3 great women in your life, and then she puts the wind in your sail. She's the first great one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he lets him borrow his car to take her on a date.
Yeah. So, but basically,
you want to talk about his test?
So there's. You want
to talk about his test versus Mario's test? I'm not going to say Mario's test. You can.
There was a couple things that I was going to talk about. So basically, like you have these two, like kind of conflicting. I wouldn't say they're conflicting, but again, it's another choice that he has to be like,
oh, they're conflicting.
Do I listen to my? Well, yeah, I guess they're conflicting.
They're about the opposite.
Do I listen to my dad or do I? Basically, Sonny is trying to get across to him. He's like, look, you're not dumb. If you follow your heart and use your head, like you're going to be fine in this world. Which I don't know. I think he's kind of the quote unquote the bad guy, but he's not. Like that's good advice.
I mean, his dad basically told him keep it Italian.
Yeah,
which is like, well, I mean, it is 1960, so maybe, whatever.
But yeah, so he basically says he's like, yeah. So he's asking for he's asking Sonny what he thinks, and like he said that he was like, you only get 3 great ones. And he's like, well, how do you know who a great one is? And he's like, you do something very simple. He's like, you go around, you get the door for her. He said, but you leave your door locked. He's like, you go walk around the back of the car, and if you see her lean over and unlock the door, she's great. Like, she's going to be a good one. She's going to be caring. And he's like, and if she doesn't, you drop that pig off right away. And you're like, whoa.
Okay, so what's Mario's test?
So then, so separately, he asks his friends.
Oh, like, you're actually going to say this one?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to say this one. Okay. Why would I not?
It's kind of crass,
It's part of the movie.
All right.
But,
No, you're right.
What are you going to do?
You're right. What are you going to do?
You should, listen to
okay,
beware.
All right, you go.
So he basically separately asks his friends, like, yeah, like, how do I know, like, if this is a good person to see with? And his one buddy goes, you got to give him the Mario test. And he's like, just a fucking sleazeball dude. And essentially, his advice was pull up next to a truck while you're on the road, honk the horn, and then let's call it what it is, borderline sexually assault your date. And if she's quote unquote what he says into it, then she's a slob and can't be trusted, is his line.
Yeah, if she's goes with what you're asking for,
yeah, then don't trust her.
I'm like, oh, okay,
yeah.
So very quickly you can
single
see
for a while, dude.
So
yeah.
you can even see is like, are you sure about that? You can tell he's like,
he's
what?
like,
so you can tell
what are you saying?
He's
right
like an actual man at 17, and his friends are like dipshits.
Well, again, you can see like from what Sonny says earlier on, he's like, your friends are idiots.
Yeah, when he says, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you the test," he's like, "Oh, what, Mario's test?" He's like, "What?"
He's like, Mario's a psycho.
He's a psycho.
And he is. I mean, obviously that's very shitty advice. So he lets. Okay. No, I was just going to say he lets him borrow his car, basically, to take this girl Jane out for a date.
Yeah, I want to just roll back to when C finally meets Jane outside of school, and then you have the doo-wop group that comes back. So there's a doo-wop group on every corner. That's how the movie starts. He's like, doo-wop is the sound, and there's a doo-wop corner on every. So right when they actually meet, they're singing, "I only have eyes."
That is a great song.
And so that's playing while they meet, and then they're walking home together, and it's just like, I'm like, oh man,
you're like, that's so wholesome.
Yeah, and it's great, and like he's obviously he's fumbling all over words.
Yeah,
and but they're definitely
just like getting
they set up like a movie date and everything.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, dude,
which it's sad because there is like a really nice scene between the two of them. They're getting along really great. They're laughing.
Like, oh, okay. They're going against the grain. This is perfect.
Yeah, but then like reality sets in of like the situation between their two neighborhoods. Like he basically gets up to what he would basically a part of the town that he wouldn't normally go to, and basically he ends up getting heckled. I think it's like his equivalent, the equivalent in their neighborhood of like his group of friends, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like there's another crew. He gets heckled, and
throw a bottle at him.
Yeah. But so the shitty reality of like basically their Romeo and Juliet story comes crashing in. Right. But they plan a date, and it ends up being like, you know what? I really don't give a shit. Like I want to see you, which I think is very nice.
But before the date happens,
we are jumping around all over the place. Wait, no, what's happened before the date?
Well, I'm just saying there's a situation that. Well, I think we missed one big cool scene earlier, but we can go back to that.
Yeah, here you go for it.
Well, I was just saying. So back to his dipshit friends. Some of the kids from the other neighborhood are just riding their bikes through their neighborhood outside of This Is Wild, and the dude Mario, who's a psycho.
Oh
no, not No, Slick, the other dude.
Yeah,
he just.
All right, so I think. I know what this. Okay, so
I'm just saying.
Sonny, So Sonny says you can borrow my car to take her out on a date, and then it's like he's like, awesome, this is great, and it's like the day before their date, after he's like, I lined up this big date. Now the unfortunate events of his dipshit friends happen. All right, now we're up to.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump all over that.
No, I just completely forgot where we were.
So they're just riding their bikes. They're literally just riding their bikes, and he just runs out in the street and just punches the one kid off his bike, and then they just start kicking the shit out of these kids.
Out of these poor kids.
And it's wild. This scene is, I was like, it's kind of hard to watch.
It is, yeah.
And then at one point, they're like, see, get over here. So he comes over, and he's like, the one guy is on the ground. He's like, just stay on the ground, just stay on the ground.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to hurt you. Yeah.
So he doesn't hit him or anything, and he's like, what are you doing? Get out of the way. So he gets out of the way, and he's just like, he doesn't want any of this.
And like and literally the only reason they decided to attack these kids is because they were black in their neighborhood. But yeah, so C, he basically is like trying to put on a brave face in front of his friends, but in reality, he's like, dude, I'm not going to hurt you. Like, just stay down. Like, we'll put on a good show. Like, I'm not going to hit you.
He's like, Jesus,
or
anything. Stay
down. And then it gets broken up.
Yeah. So then he goes to pick up Jane.
Yeah.
And then Jane looks all pissed off, and he's like, yo, what's going on? And then he's like, my brother got beat up in your neighborhood yesterday. And he's like,
no, I wasn't. He's like,
I
wasn't.
Were you there? And he's like, no, I wasn't there. And then he comes out. And he spots him, and he said, "No, it was me.
He's like, it was you." Him. And he's like, "No, I tried to protect you." And they basically get in an argument. And she was like, "Well, I just thought you said you weren't there." And he's like, "No, I mean I was there, but like, I didn't touch him. He's like, "But I didn't touch him." They get into an argument, and then some words are said that are very horrible.
Yeah, we'll skip that.
We're gonna skip that.
And then basically they just stare at him. And they're like, "See, I told you. He's just like the rest of them."
Yeah.
And then he's just like, because he's not.
Yeah, he's not. But and so he basically. Jane leaves with her brother. Calogero is driving home. Outside of the window, this is kind of like later that night, Lorenzo sees him driving Sonny's car. He comes down and is like, what did I say? I don't want you talking to them. Like, these are bad people. They get in an argument, and C basically runs out. They get into a big screaming match. Yeah. C runs out, and his dipshit friends are here right on cue to pick him up. And they basically are going over there to be like, yeah, like, you know, we were able to kick the shit out of these poor kids. Like, we're going to go, basically, I can't even remember the exact line, but he's like, we're going to go, finish the job, essentially. And you find out
there with a car full of Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, so basically he gets in the car, and you find out that, like, oh shit, they're going to go, like, seriously hurt someone and basically cause as much destruction as they can. So this is kind of where I think it's cool that C's internal monologue. He's like, on the outside I was laughing because that's what I had to do around my friends, but on the inside I didn't want to be there. I was very uncomfortable with the situation. And again, it's unfortunate because it's like, he's not a bad kid, but I guess the peer pressure of the time and with his friends was kind of taken over. So Cologito, so they're in the car, and then I think it's basically as they pull up to a stop sign, you see Sonny come up and he says, "See, like, get out of the car, like the rest of you guys, like, don't even talk to me."
Slams Slick's head into the...
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, Sonny, it's okay." Slams his head into the dashboard, and he's like, "Cologito, like, get the hell out of the car." So his crew ends up driving away, and you're left with Sonny and C. And this is where Sonny, he basically confronts Cologito, and he said, like, "After you dropped my car off, I went to go get in it. We tried to turn it over. The car wouldn't start. And basically, we found something on the car that was rigged to blow up. Like, where the fuck did you take my car?" And he's really getting up in C's face. And this, I think, is the first time where he's kind of seeing the wrath of Sonny, so to speak. And he flips it on him, and I think this is an awesome scene where he's like, what if it went off when I was in the car? Like, what if when I was going to pick up Jane, this thing went off? Like, you didn't even think about that. You just assumed that it was me that was trying to hurt you. He's like, I wouldn't do anything to hurt you. And I think this is, an unfortunate part of Sonny's line of work, colliding with his kind of the Lorenzo, like, always be a good person type of mindset.
He's like, "Do you trust anyone?" He's like, No.
It's like, it's a sad way to live.
And I see his blubbering at this point. He's like, "You're like a father to me."
Yeah.
But then right then, Lorenzo sees this whole thing and comes outside and tries to get involved, and that's bad for him.
Oh yeah,
he gets socked right in the stomach, and then he says, "Go get your bus.
Go get your fucking bus."
He's like, "I'll get my bus." He's like, "You put your hands on me, I'll put you in the fucking ground." I'm like, "Oh my, Sonny is fucking."
Sonny's badass dude. I think this. So a cool part of this though is that, like, after he storms off. Like, after Cologito storms off, I know one of his friends, one of Sonny's boys is like, "You want to go get you? Like, you want me to go get him?" Like he doesn't walk away from you. Like, you walk away from him, kind of thing. And Sonny was like, "No, like let him go." I think he's basically the way I interpret that scene is that, like, Sonny was like, "Fuck, that's my bad." Like, you know what? Maybe I should have, start to trust people a little bit.
So when they come back, this is where Jane actually came back to talk to C, and you find out that her brother just decided to tell her the truth. That he didn't hit her.
And it was like, no, like, he really did try.
He's like, and then all of a sudden they just like, "Oh, okay, we're all good now."
Yeah. So separately, while this is happening, you basically go back into the scene where his dipshit friends are with the Molotov cocktails. They throw a couple of them at it's just like a local business,
it's like a record store. What's the other store next to it? The record store is the one that they really show them smash them windows out and throwing the Molotovs in.
So they throw them in there. There's someone inside of the store. They throw a Molotov cocktail in there that doesn't break. He basically picks it back up, throws it, lands directly in C's friends' cars, kills all of them instantly.
Yeah, the whole car blows up.
Whole car goes up. That's a wild scene.
So they're...
Yeah, go ahead.
And then right then they jump in. This is where they jump in Jane's car.
Yeah,
and he gets the keys, lets her inside her side, and then runs around to his side, and she opens the door for him. So he does that weird, like, jump in there. He's like,
yeah. So it's kind of weird to talk about these two scenes at the same time. But, like, on one hand, yes, friends are huge scumbags.
Yeah, because I think when it's just Jane and C too, I think I only have eyes for you.
Yeah, that's like their song. Yeah,
that's playing, and then it goes back to, it's just like switching between the scenes.
It's bouncing back and forth. Chaos, doo-wop. But yeah, so then she passes the test, so to speak. And there's a really great dialogue. I think it was so they end up, like, kissing for the first time, and they're just staring at each other, and he goes, "You know how to make sauce?" I think
she's like, "What?"
He's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, like marinara." And I just think I just love that scene. Like, he's just like, "Oh yeah, like, I'm bringing you home to meet the whole family. Like, if you can make sauce, you're perfect. That's it."
But, like, it's weird because they're like, it's like low key. He's like, "Oh, she passed the test," but they're like going to save her brother from. He knows that his crew is going over there.
Yeah. So she's like, "I have to go." Like,
it's a weird dichotomy. But they show up, and this is like, this scene's just unsettling. You have that Molotov part, and then
so C basically runs up, to his friends,
all just covered,
and they're all just charred to shit.
Yeah, basically. And then he's getting, obviously everyone's like yelling at him, telling him to get out of there because he's like in that neighborhood after what just happened, and he's like, I get it.
He's like, I want to stay and be here with you, and I'm so sorry that my friends were shitty, but I think they're both like, well, her brother, Jane's brother, is like, you got to get out of here.
The boys are getting mad. You got to get out of here.
I mean, rightfully so. I mean, literally 3 white dudes just came into their neighborhood and tried to throw Molotov cocktails, and now one of their friends is in their neighborhood. Tensions were high.
But then he also realized that Sonny has saved his life, so he's like, I got to go get Sonny. I got to tell Sonny.
Yeah.
So this is where he runs off to go tell Sonny.
To go basically say, like, I got to thank Sonny. He saved my life. Like, he doesn't even know it. He gets to this crowded party, and you see Sonny off in the distance, and he's like, there's excitement in the air, and he's like, Sonny, like, I got to, like, come over here. And then in the background, you see an assassin basically shoot Sonny in the head before gets a chance to go over there.
He's like, everyone in the room was smiling. Sonny was smiling. He's like everyone was
smiling
except for this one guy. I could see it. No, there's one guy not smiling, and that guy just locks eyes with C as he walks up.
Yeah, pulls the trigger.
Can't do anything. He's like running to him. He can't do anything.
He's trying to warn him. Loud party, so he's done.
This is the part to me that brings it back to like
it's like the full circle.
Yeah, like, okay, we are actually in a mob movie.
Yeah, seriously. So he and unfortunately he shoots him in the head. So it's kind of a little later on. We're at Sonny's funeral. A lot of people are there to pay respects for what's going on and the whole thing. And there's a line that I'm going to go back to. It's I think it's when C is talking to him about the situation with Jane and stuff like that, and he's like, nobody cares. Like, Sonny is like, you're gonna find out in life that like nobody cares. Like, always, like, just do what's in your heart, follow it. You're like, follow your head. Nobody cares. You're gonna be fine. So you have a callback to this line where he's basically like, there was a lot of people there, but no one was sad, kind of. So he's like, yeah, Sonny was right. Like, nobody cares. At this point, you then learn that the killer was the son of the man who Sonny killed when he was 9, basically. I think this is
a parking spot.
All over a parking spot, yeah. So everyone disperses. There's a really nice scene. Lorenzo, his dad, comes, and he's like, I'm here to pay my respects. Like, you meant a lot to my son. And then he turns to his son, and he's like, I'm really sorry that this happened to your friend. He also has a really great backhanded line. He's praying over him, and he goes, Sonny, I'm really sorry that this happened to. And he goes, may God have mercy on your soul. And he does the sign of the cross, and then just gets up, and you're like, you know what? Lorenzo was right. Like, this is where we are. So then, kind of people clear out a little bit, and then you're left with Carmine at the very end. So this is you want to talk about this scene?
Well, yeah. So Joe Pesci. This is Joe Pesci from the same scene at the beginning where the guy gets shot over the parking space.
Yeah. So Sonny doesn't recognize him,
no.
And then except he's like, yeah, you remember this? And he points to his face and he goes, that was you the day of the parking spot.
He's like, yeah, you're Lorenzo's son, right? The bus driver's son. And he's like, so then he tells him that he's going to step up for Sonny, and like anything he needs, just come down to the bar. And he says, I'm going to give the bar a rest for a little while. And then he asks him, he's like, was the fight really over a parking space? And he goes, no. So you never find out what it was actually over, but it was obviously something.
Yeah. Well, related. I think so. His dad and Sonny, like he asks, like this scene comes up a couple times, and he basically is like, "What was that over?" He's like, "Was that really about a parking space?" He asked that question probably like 3 or 4 times, and they're like, "You'll understand when you're older." And he's like, "It's complicated." So Carmine's the first person that's just like, "No, it wasn't."
No.
So that's, I think, where you see like kind of the almost the evil side of things, where it's like, yeah, it's great that he was my friend and stuff, but maybe this life isn't. And like you said, he was like, I'm going to give the bar a break for a little bit. But I think it's really cool that basically when as Keith just said, like, he's going to be filling in for Sonny, he's like, I've heard a lot of really great things about you. Like, Sonny spoke very highly of you. And basically Sonny didn't trust anybody. So I think it was pretty big that he, trusted him a little bit. Lorenzo, as part of his another really good line that I skipped over, he basically thanks him for saving his life, and he says, I never really hated you, I just didn't my son looked up to you, and I didn't want that for him. And I think this is kind of the end of the movie here, right?
Yeah, and you just have Kalogero narrating over it, and he says, you just have to accept people for what they are, and I learned the greatest gift of all, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent, and the choices that you make will shape your life forever. But you can ask anybody from our neighborhood, and they'll just tell you this is just another Bronx Tale.
What a great way to end that movie. Yeah.
Back into the epic music. The soundtrack is so good.
It really is. There was a couple scenes that I was thinking of. Like, obviously, I think we covered the main like plot drivers for this one, but there's a lot of really great scenes that kind of happen in the periphery. Yeah, go for it.
It's the one that I think we talk about this one too. This is the one where it's right when Sonny's like teaching
the bar.
Yeah, he's teaching C some like life lessons at lunch.
Yeah,
and basically C has this guy that owes him $20, and he's like, honestly, he's like, you don't like this guy, you don't want to be his friend anymore. He's like, no, I don't like him. He's like $20, that's pretty cheap to get rid of somebody. He's never going to ask you for money. He's never going to come bother you again.
Yeah.
So like you just don't have to worry about him. And then like you
$20
can see,
like, out of your life.
Oh, wow. So that he applies that logic to his friends later, because his friend's trying to chase someone down for $10, and he's like, oh, that's the cheapest way you can get rid of somebody. You know. But
I do think when he says that, so I think what Keith and I are basically like, we haven't talked about this now. We're about to get into some of the greatest hits of Sonny throughout the movie. Like we. Kind of getting the plot out of the way, but he says that he's like, for $10, this is C telling his friend, he's like, yeah, $10, he's out of your life, and his friend's like, whatever. And it's clear, like, dude, you didn't fucking think about it. Like you're just worried about that $10.
He's like, $10.
So there's themes throughout the movie of like, oh yeah, my friends are fucking idiots.
But he's talking about being in prison, whatever. He's like, there's only 3 things you can do in the joint: lift weights, play cards, and get into trouble. And he's like, what'd you do, Sonny? He's like, I read Machiavelli.
He's like, yeah, me, I read. And
he's like, is it better to be loved or feared? He's like, he tells him, feared, because it's what keeps men loyal to him. He's like, I'm funny. I know I'm funny, but I'm not that funny.
Oh yeah,
everybody's laughing at my jokes. I know I'm not that funny.
Were they at the same?
So they're at a restaurant.
Well, no, I'm saying is that the same scene? Like, I can't remember where.
Yeah, that's all in the same.
All in the same scene.
And then.
Oh, yeah, he's like, you know what? I tell a joke, people laugh. He's like, I'm funny. I'm not that funny,
yeah.
But.
And then this is right where right outside you see the bikers roll up to the bar and across the street.
Fuck, this scene's awesome.
And this is the scene that we were talking about at work. Yeah. And I was like, oh man. So right as he's doing the knowledge, bikers show up at the bar, and they're in there, and they're just like, you can tell they're about to cause problems. They're all not dressed for the bar to begin with.
Yeah.
So the bartender kind of tells them. Sonny comes in, and they're obviously causing a problem. Yeah. So he's like, all right, you guys have a drink, and then you get out of here. So they get their drink, beers and whatever, and they just start spraying all over the bartender.
Yeah.
And then Sonny's like, now you got to leave. And then they're like, oh yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, we're not done with our beers. Right. Fuck you.
And so then he's like, okay. So he walks over to the door, locks it, comes back and says, now you just can't leave. And they just fucking, their faces go from like, oh, we're about to wreck this bar to like, oh shit.
Well, this scene is kind of like, now that C's a little older, I think he's seeing more of like the type of person that Sonny is. But yeah, so C is kind of narrating throughout the movie, and he goes, every one of their faces dropped. He's like, they knew they'd made a fatal mistake. He's like, they had a reputation for tossing up bars, and he's like, they basically walked into the wrong one. They fucked with the wrong guy is what he's getting at.
And this scene is one of the most brutal scenes. This is probably the most brutal scene in the movie. And so all the boys,
yeah. So they all come out. All of Sonny's crew comes out
and
full force.
All the affiliates come flying out of the back with bats.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they're pipes or what.
No, pool cues.
Pool cues. They all have all kinds of shit.
Yeah, the one guy does have a pipe, yeah.
Jojo the Whale suffocates someone similar style against the bar.
But they absolutely beat the ever-loving shit out of this group of bikers.
They wreck them. But then they basically take all the boys outside, throw them down on the ground. All the neighborhood kids start beating up the one dude. They trash all their bikes or smash all their bikes. And then he grabs the one dude and he says, look at me. I'm the one who did this to you. You ruined my fucking lunch.
Yeah. He says, look at me. I'm the one who did this to you. Remember me.
Remember me.
Yeah.
He says, ruined my fucking lunch.
Yeah. So this is the... Oh, wait. Let me see if you can... Oh, it's just playing through my headphones.
Oh, cool. So no one will ever know.
Yeah, so no one will ever know. So that was almost a cool bit.
That was cool. That's cool.
This is a dog shit episode, huh? But yeah, he's basically... so he's a badass dude. That is a great scene.
Yes, that's like way back in the movie. That's like probably an hour back.
But that's what we're saying. These are the greatest hits of Sonny, is what I'm going to call it. There's another good scene that we glossed over, where you are introduced to Eddie the Mush, or a scene of Eddie the Mush.
Oh my god!
He's at the racetrack. You know what I'm talking about?
That's like the first scene of the second half of the movie.
Yeah. So he's at a race. C is at the racetrack with Sonny and all his boys, and they're betting on a horse named Kryptonite. And he's like, yeah, he's like, see, he's like, you put it all on kryptonite, right? And he's like, yeah, Sonny, I took care of it. He's like, great. He's like, the fix is in, like, this is going to be, it's a sure thing. Like, we're going to win a lot of money. And then his one friend, Eddie, who they call Eddie the Mush, who earlier we talked about, he was one of the people that they put in the bathroom. He comes down, he's like, yeah, come on, kryptonite. And before the race is even over, Sonny picks up all their bet slips, rips them, throws them in the air, and he goes, we've been mushed. Let's get out of here. And basically, the guy can't hit a bet to save his life, is what you find out. That's another good scene. What else was there? Were there any other good scenes that you wanted to talk about?
I like the Goodfellas style intro of everybody, where like they're at the bar at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, Tony Toupee, and it's like everything he said he sung. And Eddie the Mush. What do they call him? Why is he the Mush again? I forget. I didn't.
Because Eddie the Mush, because he's everything he touches turns to mush.
He's the worst. Like, and then Jojo the Whale, because he's huge.
He says a really funny quote about Jojo the Whale. He's like, rumor has it he once killed a man with a shadow.
That's what it is. And then Frankie Coffee Cakes, because his face looks like a Drake coffee cake, which is fucked up. And
there's a line about him that the kids say early on where he says, like at the beginning when we were recording, I was like, yeah, he's like, oh, all right, who am I doing? And all his friends were like, oh, it's Sonny. Like they would impersonate him. His one friend goes, see, Closure, why don't you do something hard? Like he's like, how about like Frankie Coffee Cake? And he's like, how the hell can I do coffee cake? He's like, he's like, stand in front of a screen and I'll throw shit at it. For his face. That's wild.
And then Jimmy Whispers is the other guy. Just everything to him was a secret. That's what
everything to him was a secret. Yeah, that's a great line. This is a really good movie, though. I think this is something that everybody should watch.
Oh I love this one.
And again, it's not. There's really only the one the I don't know, two scenes maybe that are violent. One when he shoots the guy at the very beginning, but that's not even violent. I mean, you don't see anything. When his friends are burnt, I would say that's not great.
That scene sucks.
But then the other two like violent, like when they beat him up. I mean, it's very. You can see that it's just it's kind of corny.
The bar scene's awesome though.
So there was one thing I wanted to talk about with the bar scene as well. When they filmed it, there's a scene where he's kind of dragging someone along the floor. They basically had the guy with a camera laying on the ground pointed up at him.
Oh yeah, because it's a first person drag.
Yeah, it's a first person drag. Like Sonny's dragging someone out of it. And basically there's a picture that you can look up. I don't have it on my computer right now, but they basically put him on a cart, like a carpet. And the dude is literally just like sitting there with a camera pointed at him, and so he's pulling him, and it's hard because there's not on wheels or anything, so he's like actually struggling. But I thought that was really funny. Cool, like
because there's a lot of action scenes in that. So like when Sonny's like rocking someone, the whole camera is like
shaking. Yeah,
it's like coming down like an arc and coming back.
Yeah,
I'm like, damn, they did a lot. I was thinking about that when I was watching that scene. Like they did a lot of like practical like tactics to make it.
Yeah, to make everything work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so good. Did you have anything else that we wanted to talk about with this one?
No, I don't think so. I just liked how, I mean, this is Chaz's like first thing, and like he was probably never gonna.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't.
This was like his big break.
That was it. Yeah. I mean, he went on to do a couple other mob movies after this. I know he was the main antagonist in Analyze This.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fun. I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff too.
He has a lot of roles, but I'm just saying this was like his big thing, and it's actually Robert De Niro's first movie he directed. I think he only directed one more movie, but I just think that
it was
cool.
really good.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of like one of those movies that it probably did all right when it first came out. It's like okay.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, it's kind of lived on
now.
Yeah. So yeah,
I just think it's awesome. This one was on HBO all the time. I remember that.
Yeah. So this one, the description that I like to, I don't know, because you have The Godfather. Like that's like you just throw it right into the thick of like a mob, like movie. I like to think this is if like The Godfather and like The Breakfast Club. Like,
oh, okay.
So it's almost like it's a coming of age story. Like yeah, I mean it's like a coming of age story told in a weird setting, basically.
So you're saying it's just like it, kind of.
Yeah, you've really been pushing that.
I just think it's just in the miniseries. There's two parts, and then there's two movies with the kids and adults.
You're like, yeah, dude. Every time I mention it, I get 0.2 cents.
Yeah, it's like fucking it. You know what I mean? It's not scary, dude.
Yes.
There's no freaking Pennywise.
There's no Pennywise, dude. I mean, Chaz Palmintieri's a clown, but you know.
You said it, not me, dude.
Hey,
you want to mess with Sonic? That's on you,
Chaz. If you're out there,
but I will say the other thing they did is they did a musical version of this, and I really wish I would have gone and seen it.
Did they?
Yeah, I think De Niro was involved in it too. It's like 2016. I think they put it like on a musical.
Wow.
So it went from a one-person show.
Yeah.
Where he played all the parts.
Yeah.
Picked up as a movie, and then there's a musical.
Now
as
they were like, you know what, we should.
I think it ran a couple years. Yeah, I wish I would have seen that.
Yeah.
Alex from work said he's seen the one-man show.
Really?
Yeah, him and his dad. He said his dad took him to see it.
I think he does. Like, I'm trying to look.
I don't know how often he does it. If he still does it.
Yeah, he still does it. He's on tour right now. It's called the One Man Show that started it all.
Okay, yeah. Wait, that's all this year.
Oh, that was all this year. Maybe.
Oh, wait. 12.
He was literally 2 weeks ago. He was 10 minutes from us doing those.
I was on vacation.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go with you anyway. But
wait, go back up.
He's coming to look where he's going.
Hey, Lancaster.
Oh,
next year, May. Wait, go scroll up real quick. He's got some more shows here.
It's so loud. You're loud.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I was screaming in the mic. I didn't realize how close I was to your computer. Oh
no, it's fine.
Connecticut, so I'm bad. Not going there.
You know, forget about that.
Yeah, we'll go next.
I would go see that. Though.
I would go see it. Dude, I can't believe we just missed it. And it's in Glen. It's in Glenside.
Yeah,
it's not that far.
Yeah, you know, now everyone can come and kill us in our sleep. No, I'm just kidding. No,
you should censor that.
Why?
Oh, it's in.
Oh, it's in.
Now everyone can kill us.
So everyone great. No, I don't give a shit. I'm not cutting any of this.
Yeah.
No.
Track us.
Great. All right. Did you have anything else for this movie?
No. It just rocks.
It just freaking rocks. It socks off.
Yeah, but I will say that it's funny that grown up seeing this also plays in The Sopranos, but he plays the opposite role. He plays basically one of his dipshit friends.
Yeah.
Who decides that they have to kill a made man for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And they don't make it.
And they, spoilers or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
He is pretty good.
But Charmaine, though, she's great.
She is really awesome. She's the mom.
She's awesome in this one.
Yeah.
Every time she goes in.
Lorenzo. Yeah. It's so good.
Lorenzo. And she's just grabbing him, just like a little cat by the scruff.
Like Sable.
And I do like. All right. I'll say one more thing. I do like how the Che Bippy is the bar 2 doors down.
Yeah.
But C goes through like this underground network of tunnels to get there.
Yeah, he goes through like a back alley.
And then up.
Well, he doesn't want his because his mom pokes her head out.
I think the first time it happens, he sneaks down these steps, goes through this back alley, back up these other steps into the bar. Yeah. And he's in there, and then his mom knows exactly where to go. She just shows up at the bar. She's like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
It's like, how did she freaking know where he was?
Be like, "Hey, you're using the rat tunnels again, huh?"
Calogero. Fucking rat tunnels.
Great. All right. Well, that was A Bronx Tale, the 1993 classic. Definitely give it a watch. Again, sorry for the single mic we got going on here.
I only have eyes for you.
Yeah, what's the line? Give us a quote to send us off.
The saddest thing in life is wasted talent, and the choices you make will shape your life forever.
And with the key drop.
Mic drop.
Until next time.